My name is Faiz Khan, and I'm the founder of Insan Corporation. So basically, what we are doing is we are trying to create a community for freelancers, influencers, any individual who is trying to do something on their own and faces a lot of problem during starting stage. It is a platform for professional as well. So the sole objective of this podcast is to tell beautiful stories of beautiful person so that people can get inspired by them and start their journey, and if they have some questions, we will be answering them in this podcast. So today I have Ishita Khanna. Ishita, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. So, firstly, thank you for inviting me. My name is Ishita. I'm a freelance content writer and social media marketer. Apart from that, I'm the founder of Quackboo Digital Media and the Eventos event management firm. So, I am currently pursuing my graduation and working as a freelancer.
Nice, nice. Yes, when and how did you start your journey? Can you say something about that?
Sure. So I never planned to become content writer and I didn't never plan to start freelancing. It was purely accidental. So when I was in my first year of college, I was like, okay, I have to do something. I never figured out like what exactly I wanted to do. It was just I want to start doing something. I want to explore. So I joined a few internships. I even joined a few communities of my college. I started with graphic designing and marketing with the very basic.
Nice.
After that, I switched to content. The internship that I joined, there I wrote one or two content, but those were not very well. Apart from that, I started working as an HR manager after that, like after writing content. So doing HR being an HR manager, I started handling interns. I started handling a team. I usually was a very introvert girl earlier, but being an HR, you have to deal with a lot of people. You have to communicate with different companies, different colleges to hire people, to hire employees. So that's how I started speaking basically. I started becoming an extrovert. After that,
Nice.
I was like, okay, this is it. I have to try on my hands to different stuff. So I just thought that content writing is something that I wanted to do, but at that particular time, I wasn't good at it. So I thought, okay, if I'm not good, I'll try it out. So I did. I wrote content for Times of India. I wrote content for my own blog. I created my own website. I created my own portfolio. I learned all of this being an internship itself. I never knew all of this stuff earlier. Being in internship, I knew the basics of how you have to start freelancing. So once I just started out, I just went throughout the flow. I started creating content on LinkedIn, and that's how it all started.
Nice, nice. So basically, what I can summarize from this is you have been into three multiple domains. One is
True.
graphic designing, one is HR, and now you are doing content writing, right?
Exactly.
So in freelancing, basically people get this idea that they have to be professional in one single domain, but that's somewhere truth. But for a longer period of time, you have to have different knowledge of different field as well. And it's not just knowledge; you just have to try out different stuff, right? In starting, because you don't really know what you are going to pursue. It's would you love that, or it's just not for you. So picturing that scenario, it's also really I don't think so in future people would be just professional in one particular domain. It's really nice being a professional is really nice, but opening multiple gates is also good. As I don't know if you know about Naval Ravikant. So Naval Ravikant is an Indian American entrepreneur. So he also pinpointed this in one of his podcasts that we should really focus on multiple domain. So focusing on
Yeah.
that, currently you are into content writing. Which type of content writing are you pursuing?
So firstly, I would say that of course I would like to continue what you said. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you're starting out being in college, I would say explore as much as you can, explore as many niches you want to, whatever you want to do, go for it because you never know what excites you. So being in me, like I never thought I will be writing content. But when I started out, I felt like, okay, this is something meant for me. So
Right.
here I am being a freelance content writer. So, as you said, that do multiple things and figure out what you find the best for yourself, what you find more exciting for yourself. And apart from that, as per your question, so I am like currently I am writing multiple niches. I haven't fixed any one niche for me. I have been writing into marketing, technical, crypto, parenting, travel blogs, food blogs. So yeah, I have been writing content in multiple niches like product reviews, product guidelines, ultimate guides, everything. Like even I have like published a few chapters in a particular books. I cannot name them because of the privacy issues. But yeah, I haven't niched down yet because I actually love writing. And secondly, I love experimenting and learning new things. So every once in a while, I prefer to change my niche to write something in different niche so that I don't get bored of one thing.
Right, makes sense. You also mentioned that you wrote something about parenting because see in this content writing genre, I would say people use niche according to their interest. I would say interest, not really, or in some experience. Like in technical, some technical person can write about technical stuff. Marketing person can write about marketing stuff. But you said
Hmm.
parenting, and I hope you are not yet parent at all. So
No, no.
how are you trying to deal with it?
So whenever I have to write particular content in a particular niche, I prefer getting in contact with a few of people in that particular niche. So I usually connect with people on Instagram who are mothers who are doing blogging. I keep a check on their stories, on their highlights, so that I get to know, okay, this is something they are focusing on. So recently I wrote a topic like how mothers should take care of their children during COVID. So I have been in contact with a lot of mother bloggers on Instagram, on Twitter. So they usually post guides there, like how you can follow these things and all stuff. And I even, for basic knowledge, I prefer Google and YouTube as well. But when we have to put on our creativity and emotional touch, then getting in contact with real people who are facing that issue is a better option. So that's how I wrote.
Right, completely makes sense. It's better to socialize on. It's better to socialize and get that experience and knowledge from other person where you are just starting out. You don't know what
Exactly.
you are doing. You will make huge mistakes in the beginning. So it's better to reach out to person who has that experience and so that they can tell you what to do and what not to do if they are up to for that. It's really nice that you had that because I was having the doubt because it's a common myth in just content writing. You have to have that knowledge where you're starting. It's totally understandable, but you somewhere I would say if you are interested towards something and you know don't have experience or knowledge, you can learn it up a week. You can start.
Yeah, I would say just start doing it. For example, when I started writing content in the niche of crypto, I had 0% knowledge about crypto and bitcoins. And at this point of time, I have completed like 30 plus blogs in that particular niche.
Nice.
So if you don't know anything about a particular niche, I would say start writing, start doing research, start talking to people, start networking with people in that niche. You will get ample amount of knowledge on daily basis. So once you will start doing it, you will start learning, and that's how your journey will begin. So don't overthink that I don't know how to do. Just these are the questions that are just stopping you.
Hmm.
So yeah, just start it and go with the flow, I would say.
Nice way to put it. How tough it was for you to start at the beginning? What was your main obstacles that you faced?
So obstacles in the sense I was like when I obstacles the main was having sample work. So earlier I didn't knew about how to pitch people. I never knew from where I can get clients. I also didn't knew that okay how I have to talk to them, how I have to like get on meetings with them, what is professionalism. This is something I really sucked at the starting, but with time, yeah, I'm learning how you have to be professional, how I have to maintain my boundaries. Earlier, like I started getting, like I just thought of, okay, let's get some referrals. I didn't get any. Then I went on Facebook, and there people were just getting exploited. Like people were offering per word charge approx like 0.10 paisa, 0.20 paisa. And
Mhm.
I even opted for that. I wrote content at that amount itself when I started. So yeah, but with time I just started learning.
Uh, there's this issue in freelancing, and yesterday I was also talking to one of the content writer, and we were talking about something, and this issue came up that in beginning what many freelancer do is they offer for free their services. Somehow I can understand that, and I could agree to that ki, starting for 1 to 2 project you can do for free. You need to build your portfolio, so
Uh,
I
one
come
thing
around.
I would like to one thing I would like to say, I never offered my services for free. Like this is never. So as you said that people offer for free, I would recommend those people to join an internship into content writing.
Hmm.
There you will get a chance to write ample number of content, and with time you will also start learning. So when I was doing internship, I wrote only 2 to 3 blogs, and that worked for me actually when I like pitched some people for work. So 2 to 3 samples are also good to go. So I would really say don't offer free work for just testimonials and all. Go for the internship to gain actual good experience, but the paid ones, not the free ones.
Nice. Actually, she also said the same thing. Ki don't offer for free. It raises a question of self doubt that you are not sure of your service, and you don't trust your skills. So
True.
very good way to point it out. I just needed to make sure that we are all on the same page. So yeah, just go for the internship, or if you just want to start with a blog, start with a Instagram page or something, and just
Yeah, there are
try
a
to
lot
do.
of options. You can create content on LinkedIn. You can create blogs and publish on LinkedIn. You can even create your accounts on Medium, on blog post. You can
Right.
publish free content there, and that will actually help you to authorize yourself. And like basically, freelancing is all about trust. This is something I've seen till now. If the person start trusting you, they will work with you anyhow. So to gain trust, you need to show them a few sample work. And if it's published anywhere, Blogspot, Medium, anywhere, then that's a good thing, I would say.
Nice, nice. So, what are the best resources that have helped you along the way? What kind of resources do you, what's a go-to resource?
Go to resources for what? Like, do you mean for clients or to
Content
work?
for to work in generally, how to deal with content or any other resource. There are many, I would say, courses, not really courses, but explanatory videos or blogs about this domain, that how to choose your niche, what kind of content, how to do SEO. So that kind of
Like, how
resources.
to learn content writing in short, are you saying, right?
Yes, you can say that, but it's not just content writing. It's also how to deal with clients.
Mm-hmm.
What are the points that you should say? So what are the best resources that have helped you?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I would say, when I started out to get clients, I used to do cold emailing. And even I used to DM people on Instagram, cold DMs that, okay, I'm a freelancer. I want to. There was a basically perfect pitch I used to follow. And I got my first client from Instagram. After that, I got my second client from a referral. I got my third client from LinkedIn. So, like, basically, to get clients, these are the stuff I used. If people are thinking about a lot of applications like Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer,
Hmm.
so I don't recommend them. I just never recommend them. Like, even in my consultation calls, I say, start working on your personal brand, start creating content, start showing people that you are someone who create content on platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter.
Nice.
So that's what I prefer. If it works for you, like applications like Upwork and all works for you to get clients, then it is. But for me, it never worked. I think it's really time consuming. Rather than that, I can create ample of content for other like different platforms, and that really works great. Apart from that, if we talk about learning content writing, then I would say start writing, start reading, start watching movies with English subtitles, and like reading, writing, practicing. This is something that will help you to learn content writing. There is a lot of content around you, I would say, like ads, banners, everything. You can just watch them, you can like improvise them, you can write them according to your creativity. So I never find a very particular course to learn content writing,
Hmm.
but I would just say improve the content around you, read the content around you, analyze the content around you, and start working on it, start writing. After that, if we talk about SEO related stuff,
Hmm.
so I prefer some tools, that is Arif. I prefer tools Yoast for transition words like keywords, linkins, everything. So Arif and Yoast. These are the two my go-to tools. And to check content, I prefer using Grammarly paid version and Hemingway.
Okay.
And there is a lot more into like freelance content writing. You need to maintain your time, you need to do time management, you need to maintain your productivity throughout the day. So there is a very long process. So yeah, I can't sum up everything here, I would say.
It was really grateful. I'm really grateful to you for that resources that you mentioned. People can really use that, and I guess it will help many to start their journey, or if they are pursuing, then that would really help them. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I also have a question. What was your parents' opinion when you started, and what do they feel now? What's the
Okay,
difference
so
between
I
when
would.
you started and currently you are
Mhm.
successful and you started your own venture? So, what's their difference? What were they saying at the beginning and what are they saying now?
Okay, so I have done like 20 plus consultation calls with freelance beginners, and they are always like that my parents are not convinced, they don't want me to do freelancing and all stuff. So I would just say, don't ask them or don't tell them that please get convinced, please understand or something. Do and show them. Don't tell them, okay, I will do this, I will do that. Do it and then show them and tell them that, okay, I did it. That's how you can convince them. So this is something I learned a long back. Like one of my cousins told me that if you want your parents to get convinced, you can't just make them understand that whether whatever you are doing is good or not, but you can show them. So when I started, my parents were like, okay, you are not doing good, like this is not appropriate for you, this is not appropriate for your good future. But yeah, like after 4 to 5 months, when I started earning, when I started showing them that okay, this is what I did, this is what I'm doing, then they were super convinced, and now they are more than happy. Like I would say they are happiest ever that I am just 20 right now, and being into freelancing, I have made multiple six figure income. So yeah, they're happy with whatever I'm doing right now.
Nice, but all this argument is based on a person who is just trying to start their journey. Let's say at the age of 19 to 20, so they have some time, they have some time that they can leverage on. But what about a person who is trying to start at the age of 25, 26? He or she is doing perfectly fine job, but they want to move on
Mhm.
to this freelancing domain because data suggests that around 2030, around 30%, around 80%
Mhm.
of the total population would be doing some kind of freelancing stuff. So what do
Hmm.
you say on that? How do people do that?
Okay. So people who are starting out at the age of 24 or 25, I would say, when if you trust yourself, you can like make anyone trust you. Firstly, you need to make sure that whether you are actually sure about what you're gonna do. If not, then I would say, if you're doing a job or anything, stick with your job and side by side give your hand, like put in your hard work or extra time into freelancing. I have seen a lot of people being in their 24 or 25ish age. So they get on a job, they do like 9 to 5 job, whatever it is, and in the free time, or we can say after their job, they work on their passion, or we can say side hustle or something. So being in 24, 25, I understand there is a lot of pressure at your end, from parents, from relatives, anyone. So don't pressurize yourself, but make sure that whatever you are doing is keeping a thought in mind that okay, this is my goal. Keep your goals at a level like 3-month goal, 6-month goal, maybe 12-month goals, but start working according to your goals if you actually want to achieve what you want to. If you're taking your side hustle just as a play, then it won't work. You need to put in your hard work into your side hustle to make it your main income source. At, I would say, like, this is something at whatever age you are. Me being a college student, of course I attend my college, and after that I work on my freelancing. So at whatever age you are working at, like, in two things or three things is not easy. You need to manage your time. You need to, like, make your such environment
Hmm.
that okay, that's how you will be working.
Nice. Yes, I can get around that idea. Yes, it's very helpful actually. I would also like to add that if you are at the age of 25, 26, and you're trying to pursue this journey, then I would say it's you are perfect. You are at your best position. You must have a lot of colleague around your office, or some clients if you are doing content writing already.
Yeah,
So
like,
better
don't
approach
go for
them.
age, I would say.
Hmm.
Whether you're at 30, 35, if you want to do it, go for it. Because, of course, this is something you want to pursue. And if you actually, like, really want to do it, then no one can stop you, I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. But do some testing at the beginning. Do some Medium post,
Yeah,
Medium, go on Medium, write about some stuff, share it with your friends, share it with the seniors. They will help you out, and just
yeah,
see if
exactly.
if that's preferable, if that is an opportunity that you want to pursue. So go for it, man. After that, save some money for 2 to 3 months and just go for it. You absolutely, after 2 3 months you will be in a better position, I guess.
True.
Right. Yeah. So, this I want you to think before answering this question. Do you enjoy what you do, and would you prefer to change your career if given a chance?
Of course, I won't change my career. Like, in near 2 to 3 years of future, no, I won't do it. Maybe I will add on some more income streams in my future, but freelancing will always remain, like, always be a part of my income source. If you're asking me if I enjoy what I am doing, then of course, yes, I do enjoy it. If you like, if I say the process of doing freelancing, earlier when I started out, I felt like okay, this is something very hectic, because I was actually working, I would say, like 24/7. I would just stick to my laptop phone all the time, and that was super hectic. But there are a few process that you need to do, like cold emailing and all stuff. Sometimes I just feel like a little bit bored of it. But yeah, when you're disciplined for your work, when you think, like, feel like okay, this is something you have to do to get what you want to do. Like, I love writing content, but the process that I have to follow is a little bit hectic. But when I think like okay, I have to write content because I love it, so I just complete the process.
Right. It's again that coming to that point that if you are loving what you do, then I would say nothing would be hectic. I would say you would enjoy
Yeah.
doing that, and after a while
Yeah,
you
of
will
course.
just
Like,
wrap
I
your
would say
brain around that
make your
idea.
goals, like exactly. I would say just be consistent with whatever you are doing, be disciplined. There might be times when you feel like, okay, I don't want to do it, I don't like it. There might be ups and downs every month, or we can say every week, but discipline should always be over motivation. So be consistent and be disciplined if you're just starting out, and in
Right.
future too. But yeah, in starting, discipline is super important.
Very nice way to put it. So you mentioned that you used to cold mail to a lot of clients at the beginning. Do you still do that, or how do you? What's the other way to find clients?
I would say cold emailing is one of the very underrated step which people think. When people started creating content on LinkedIn and once they start getting clients, they forget cold emailing because they are getting inbound leads. I would say if you want to get high paying clients, if you want to get clients whom you want to work with, cold emailing or cold DMs are the best option and I still do it. Not like the amount, for example, when I started out, I used to send like 100 emails in like 15 to 20 days, and now I do to like a particular people or particular companies only whom I want to work with. So I guess I email like 10 to 20 people in a month.
Right. And just to give that perspective, I have been into marketing, and I know as a fact that cold mailing is the most efficient way in the marketing to get your clients, and that's why it's the oldest way as well. And currently, it's being used by many firms, and it's a nice way to move forward. If you are afraid, don't be afraid. It's very good way to move forward. It's really efficient way to get your client.
I think people are not afraid of doing cold emailing. What they're afraid of is that they won't get any results. But I would say, like, if you are doing proper research about the company or person you are gonna reach, if you have like written your email in a very personalized manner with a good format, in such a with like with the proper CTA and all stuff, then you will surely get a result. I would say you will surely get a reply from that company if they require a content writer. So I would say don't be what I can say for this. Like,
See, when
yeah, they're not afraid.
no, when I meant afraid, I'm sorry, I used the wrong word, but my meaning was in afraid. Basically, I meant two ways. The afraid of failure. It's really effective way to
Huh, true.
mail. And the second point is ki in Gmail, when you randomly mail a lot of clients, what usually happen? Google Gmail algorithm will shift you to spam folder for a if you do the process and person if the client like 10 to 12 clients just report it, then you will be directly sent to the spam in for other clients. So that's what I
Hmm.
guess I meant by afraid, but it's really effective. That rarely happen if you are very if your mail is very personalized. Yes, and personalized mail is the key. Thanks for that. So if your mail is very personalized, I don't think so. Any client, rarely any clients report that. But yeah, cold mailing is the way.
Yeah. So in short, I would say cold emailing is a skill that everyone should learn. So go for it.
Nice, nice. So now that you have your company coming up, you are doing freelancing. What is your daily schedule like? What do you do?
So it depends upon my to-do list basically. So I create a to-do list every night for the next day, and accordingly I divide my task and get on work. Sometimes I wake up at 8, sometimes I even wake up at 11. So I really enjoy my day throughout because of course I'm working from home. So I never pressurize myself for no, I have to wake up at this time. So I usually enjoy doing my like completing my to-do list, and I like just manage my day accordingly.
Nice. Okay. So here in this daily schedule part, see, the major issue in this freelancing is ki no, there is no one above you to monitor or guide you. You are on your own, and you have to make schedule to meet some points, right? So, how?
True.
What do you suggest? How to deal with that?
Okay, so I would say when you start working, create a to do list, have two, three books with yourself. And the best way I do is I used to keep with me a book of sticky notes. So I usually put the sticky note at the back of my like bed, and like it is mostly visible to me like almost throughout the day. So whenever I feel like okay, this is the to do list I have to complete, so I just start working on it. Or what you can do, you can set reminders on your phone that okay, these are the tasks you need to complete, because when your phone, when you get a reminder, then you actually feel like the urgency to complete it. Being a freelancer, I would say time management is a little bit difficult when you start, but you can like just mute the notifications of your phone so that you don't get you don't divert your mind while working.
Right.
Create to-do list, block your times. For example, if you have thought that okay, within the 2 hours you have to research for a blog, sometimes it might happen that you might be having a creative block or you are feeling a bit lazy. So at that particular moment, don't force yourself to do that thing. You can change your location, you can listen to some music, you can shut the work, like I would say just shut the laptop and go for a walk for 5 minutes and then get back to the work. So to manage your time at home, you actually need to be with a fresh mind. So for that, I would say eat healthy, watch some movies for like just to freshen up yourself, but don't pressurize yourself. Because
Right.
if you're writing content, then you need a good creative mind to write.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I totally agree to that. You have to be a bit of goal oriented, write your goals and do it. But if you are not able to do at that particular point of time, it's no rush. Just
Yeah,
take some time,
just
take some
don't
rest.
waste your time. I would say don't waste your time
Mm.
and give yourself like 20 to 30 minutes to freshen up.
Right. And also, I came around this. I was reading this article which was saying ki if you're pushing towards doing your task that is very time oriented at this particular time, then the effort that you use to do that to set up yourself to that task will just be negative for your creativity. You lose all your energy just to sit there, and you lose somehow your creativity. So I would say just go along with the mindset that you use, and be and make a to-do list. So that would be really helpful. Thank you, Shita, for that. Also, after here we have some questions from our user. So if you are not comfortable answering anything, you can just say it and we'll cancel it out.
Sure.
What's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
So one thing I would say in freelancing, I would say saying no to some projects. Earlier, I was saying yes to every another project I that come through my way. So yeah, this is something I just wish I knew earlier, because when you start saying no to like low paying clients, that's the moment you start getting high paying clients. So I yeah, so just saying no to the projects you don't want to work with, or those that don't match your like creativity level, or I would say your payments level, everything. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
I actually never had that failures, but yeah, when I started working, there were a few clients who were not happy with my work. So I used to be like I used to feel very guilty and sorry about that. But after a few months, I got to know that I am a bit creative kind of person. I actually cannot write like what I can say, very strict or very strict basis format content. So yeah, I just started choosing my clients accordingly, and that worked. So it wasn't a failure, but it was just a lesson, because some of my clients were not happy. So I shifted like from that to the another part, which I loved, like which I just loved writing.
Nice. Okay. What advice would you give to someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? Just starting stage.
Mhm. I would say if you're just starting out, get yourself a mentor as soon as possible, because once you will have a mentor, you will get to know the whole process and the procedure and the steps, methods, everything you need to do throughout your journey. So if you really want to avoid hit and trial methods, if you really want to save your time, go for a mentor, search for the person you will get anywhere like Instagram, LinkedIn. So it will actually like really help you to speed up your process to reach where you want to.
Okay, and who do you suggest? Who are the three people that people can reach out to, or yeah,
Three
that will help
people.
them.
See, there are a lot of people out there, I would say. I actually
Who do you
cannot
personally
name
who do you
people.
personally follow, or who influence you the most?
Okay, so I have three people. One is Shreya Pathar, second is Saheli Chatterjee, third is Komal Ahuja. So these are the three people I usually follow on each and every platform: LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. So yeah, I they are not my mentors, but yeah, I really love their content. So yeah, you can go to them.
Nice. So, people, you can just rewind that and go to those three names that Ishita mentioned, and you can follow and you can learn a lot from them as well, right? Uh, this next question: what is the one common myth about your profession or field that you want to debunk?
Okay, so a lot of people think freelancing is not sustainable. That's because they don't follow a proper procedure and they don't follow a proper methods to make this particular field sustainable. So yeah, I think this is a very like big myth.
Okay, and what would you say is the normal procedure that they should follow?
See, procedure, it's not like it depends for different people. There are a lot of people who are getting high paying clients from Facebook. There are people who are getting high paying clients from Twitter. So you need to try out different things. Of course, you need to experiment. So experimenting is not about wasting your time. Experimenting is like you're actually utilizing your time, trying out different things that will work for you. So yeah.
Okay. And what's the how much do you earn you can just mention that in figures, no need to be in so detailed, so that people can know that in content writing what they can expect.
Okay. So if we talk about how much you can earn in content writing, then one thing I would just say, sky is the limit. You can earn any amount you want to, like whether in 5 figures USD, 6 figures USD, and if we talk about in lakhs, millions, whatever you want to earn, you can do it. But of course, things need time. When you just start out, make short goals, like short term goals, I would say. Like you have to earn 5,000 INR in 1 month. Second month, you have to earn 10,000. Third month, make a goal of 20,000. So make short goals, like start with small and then move towards the big ones. So, in short, I would say sky is the limit, go for it.
And what would you say is the future of freelancing in general? Because if a lot of people come into freelancing, the supply increases, and do you think the demand will also increase? What's your expectation, or what's your thought?
So I would say demand is actually a lot, but supply is a little bit low. I feel so because still people prefer having employees than freelancers.
Hmm.
So still a lot of companies need to understand that having freelancer is a better option than having employ full-time employees. I personally feel like when you work with people for particular projects, then the productivity level increase by twice or thrice very easily. I personally feel that because I have faced the issue. I have been into employment as well, and now I'm working as freelancer also. Earlier, I was working as an HR manager. So I think when I started working as a content writer with different projects, my productivity and the work that I deliver is much better than I was delivering earlier. So yeah, of course, freelancing like is must having a lot and a long way to go. And if I talk about supply, then yeah, I think supply will increase and with time demand will too increase for sure.
Okay. But there's this one common issue with this basic structure is when you increase the supply and the demand also increases, then I would say the cost, the money that you're getting right now, the that would somehow decrease because people will have options to opt out for. So how do you think people will should deal with that?
Okay, I never thought about it actually, but I feel quality is over anything. The companies who really want quality, they will prefer good writers, they will prefer good freelancers. And if the ones who just want to get their work done, they can get anyone. So if you have particular skills, if you like, if you're able to provide good quality content to your clients, then of course people will choose you over money. They won't feel like whether you will charge for in four figures, like five figures. What they will like, whatever matters to them is quality of the content you are providing.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes, absolutely. So yes, okay. If you could, this is the last question, by the way. If you could step into my
Okay.
shoes, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't? If I missed any point, any questions, what would you ask yourself?
Okay. So I would. Mhm. Okay, I need to think for a while.
Sure, take your time.
What would I have asked myself?
About your life, about your career, uh, about your struggle, anything.
I think we have almost covered everything. I really don't have any idea right now.
Okay, how about your struggle? Was there a lot of struggle?
No, there wasn't a lot, but yeah, I was like really very confused when I started out because my goal was just to do something. I never knew what I want to do. So that's the reason I started with marketing, then graphic designing, then HR management, team leading, and all stuff. So I won't say that was a struggle, but that was the experience that I got. So yeah, there's not as much struggle I have did till now, but a little bit every journey is having.
Absolutely. I really loved your story that you juggled between so many domain and now you are fixed to content writing and you are loving this and you are also earning in 6 to 7 figures. But your journey so far is very interesting to me. You started from graphic designing, then you went to HR. You started from marketing, I guess. Network
Yeah.
marketing was the
I
one that you
joined the marketing club of my college.
right, and then you did graphic designing, and then you went into HR, which is very different from marketing. Somehow I can understand graphic designing and content writing is a part of marketing, but HR is totally different. And then you again came back to content writing.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so
now I have been into content writing from past 1 year. It's like 1.5 year.
nice. And what was your thinking in that from shifting from HR to content writing? I can wrap around idea of shifting from graphic designing to HR. You wanted something better, but from HR to I'm not saying I'm not putting anything into hierarchical form. I'm just saying what was your thought when you shifted from HR to content writing?
Okay, so I started basically doing the job of HR was just because I wanted to learn how to speak. I wanted to learn how to network with people, how to talk with people in a better way. So, being an HR, I learned this very nicely. I used to network with a lot of colleges. I used to connect them for hiring procedure. I used to connect with a lot of companies for projects and all stuff. I used to maintain my team, employees, interns, everyone. So basically, that helped me to enhance a few of my skills like communication skills, networking skills, and all. Content writing was something I just wanted to try out. Like, I wrote my first content, I wrote a blog basically about it was related to COVID itself,
Hmm.
but that wasn't good enough according to the founder of the company was like, okay, this is not that good enough. So I thought of like giving up. Okay, let's not just do it. But after 6 months, I felt like, okay, content is something I just left in mid. I didn't tried it out for even a month. Like if we talk about graphic design marketing, I did everything for a month or two to gain much knowledge about it and to understand whether I really want to do it or not. So content writing was something I just did for 2 3 days. I wrote 2 3 content and left that. So that was something just triggered me that okay, this is something I left in mid. I need to start again. And I am just sticking to it from past 1.5 year now.
Nice. Congratulations for that. So far, your journey was so inspiring, actually, and it all made sense to me. The things that you did, it was so inspiring. Great. Congratulations for your journey so far again. And thank you
Thank you.
being. You're welcome. Thank you to be on this podcast. And it was really great talking to you. Just last question: where can our listeners can connect to you?
Everyone can connect with me like on Instagram and LinkedIn, preferably LinkedIn itself. So you can search for the name Ishita Khanna, ISHITA KHA. You will get to like search my ID there. Apart from that, if you are not able to find, you can search for my hashtag, that is Ishable, ISHABLE. So Ishable is my hashtag. You can search it on LinkedIn. You will get to connect with me.
And Gmail ID that you would like to share.
Yeah. So my Gmail is ishable20@gmail.com.
Can you please spell it?
Sure. ISHABLE20@gmail.com.
Cool. I will, any which ways, I will also mention all your links in the description, so you can just go and check out. It was great talking to Ishita. It was so great. Your story was really inspiring. Just to summarize, this girl started around, I guess, around 1.5 year ago, right?
Yeah.
And she's earning in 6 to 7 figures. So it's really appealing. The career is very appealing, and you can
Like
start.
earlier, I was a science student, basically. I would say earlier, I was like till 12th, I was a science student. I shifted to BBA when
Hmm.
I joined my college. And being in college, I was like, yeah, I have to do something. And then I started shifting. And now here I am doing content writing.
One thing that I noticed throughout your this episode, I one thing I particularly noticed was your hunger. You had that hunger to pursue more and more and more, and you never settled until you got to do something that you really love right now. And I can feel that vibe. I can understand that. It's really good. People, don't let your hunger die. Do just do the next possible thing, but do it in a smarter way. Just don't, if you want to start content writing, just don't go ahead and do that. Leave your job or something like that. Do it in a smarter way. Do write up some medium articles, LinkedIn articles, share it with your friends, colleagues, and see what's the response. If it's good, then you can plan ahead for future. But you can go ahead. It's really the career is really bright ahead. So that's it from my side. Ishita, do you have
Yeah.
something to say?
Yeah, it was a really good session. I really enjoyed it. And thank you so much for inviting me. I felt super grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. So, Faiz Khan, signing off.